Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. As usual, head coach Scott Langer joining me. I'm Jay Kleinknecht. And folks, we're going to break down the weekend and have a player join us in just a little bit here as well. Coach, last week I kind of lumped the games together as a whole at the weekend because it kind of seemed like the same games. Not the case this weekend. So let's split these apart a little bit here. A 7-2 win on Friday. You have multiple scores, all lines, really being pretty productive, and a lot of things good happening. Certainly a scary moment, and some big hits and stuff going on, I guess. It's a tough game to kind of break down, but before we get into some of the specifics of it, let's talk a little bit about the positives. Obviously the scoring. I mean, you guys were able to put up seven goals, and again, multiple lines, guys getting a couple of them getting a couple of goals apiece, and multiple assists, all kinds of good things happening from an offensive perspective, and the power play unit too, 50%, 204 on the night. So some good things from that side. What did you and Eric and what'd you see?
Well, I mean, we had energy. We went out there right away. We struck quick. We were on them. Obviously, they took a penalty there, a 5-minute major that allowed us to get momentum pretty early in the game. Our guys were clicking. Guys were making plays, and the outcome was good. I thought that we could have been a little better defensively in that game, but they decided to play a unfocused game against us, and I think that allowed us to take advantage of how they were playing.
Yeah. Well, several breakaways, several odd man rushes, several 2-on-1s. There were just a lot of opportunities there. Some turnovers right in front of the crease that turned into goals on two separate occasions on Friday night. Like you said, an unfocused game that you guys took advantage of. And again, that was a very tilted pendulum. There wasn't really a whole lot of swing back. It just kind of felt like the whole game, even though they were able to put a couple of goals on, it just felt like you guys really had that ice tilted. But I want to talk for a moment about like I said, the scary moment with with Isak Holmstrom on the ice like that, and boy, it's tough because as a broadcaster, I'm watching this. I'm trying to, convey what I'm seeing without scaring people, without saying too much, without violating privacy, whatever. But it's difficult to watch that, especially, when you know the guy and how, as a coaching staff, and I want to talk to a player about this in a little bit too. What's that like to watch your guys, and know that something serious like that is happening, and that there could be a very, very serious injury that has occurred. Thankfully, he is okay, but at that moment, you don't know what's going on, and it's kind of terrifying. And as a coach, I'm sure you've seen that before, but it's never easy to deal with.
No, especially it's a brotherhood, right? Yeah. We spend quite a few hours together as a family, and when you see a player go down like that and not move for some time, it's hard. And on the other side of that, you still have to stay focused on the game because we're there to play. We have to play, and I thought our guys did a good job. Staying focused on the game. But when a guy like that goes down, a big piece of your team and big piece of your locker room, it's hard, and especially that the way it was done. It's not like it was a freak accident by any means. Mm-hmm. It was a deliberate blow to the head that put a guy out of the lineup. So. And I think we need to deal with those things at a bigger spectrum, because guys are only getting 2 games, just missing a weekend for hits like that. It's like Jackson Gross did here last year, gets 5 months taken away from his career and a brand new face to go with it, and the guy that delivered the hit sits 2 games. So I have a hard time with that. But back to the whole thing, you got to stay focused, and you got to remember you still have 20-something guys on that bench that need your attention, and you got to make sure the guys are handling it okay, because they could certainly sway off the bridge, so to speak, if you allow it. But the good thing is Isaac was texting us and letting us know that things are okay, so it was positive. It was a positive thing, but You don't like to see that in hockey.
No. I like to see that anywhere, actually, but that, yeah, it was scary. I'll be honest, it was weird for me to see, the Zamboni doors open, stretcher leaves, doors shut, boom, back to hockey, and I'm standing there going, oh God, I got to get. I was shook. It was hard for me to even get back into the game, kind of, and I kept thinking, I wonder what the guys are thinking right now. I wonder what the coaches are thinking. And thanks, I got to give a shout out to Bax, who was at home, but sent me a text that said he's okay, and I was like, oh, that makes me feel a little better. So a shout out to him. But yeah, it's scary for sure, and just one of those things I wanted to address. From even a fan's perspective, there are people down here at City Lights that are watching the game, and they're texting me going, what is going on? Is he okay? And I'm like, I can't answer this right now. I don't even know, But it was a scary moment for sure. And again, the good news is that he returned to the team that evening or that night at the hotel, and that he, obviously some repercussions, but is going to be okay, and that's fantastic. Moving on to Saturday, a 3-2 loss. You called it. We talked with you in the locker room prior to the game, and you said this is going to be a much tighter game. And when you said it, I kind of thought, what do you mean by that? Or really, how can it change that much? But it really did. It was a very different game in a lot of senses. They did seem to be a little bit more focused, a little bit more focused, but I don't want to say driven, that's not the right word, but anyway, they were more in their game plan, it seemed like. And you guys, unfortunately, the penalty kill gave up 2 goals, and unfortunately the power play didn't come through, and you end up losing 3-2, but on the board in the third period, made a game out of it. In the final 4 minutes or so, I'm watching going, I think we got this. We're going to tie this thing, and it's going to go to overtime, What did you, again, I always ask this, but I love to hear your perspective on things. What did you see in that game? How was it different?
Well, our energy level, for one. I didn't think our guys managed their preparation good enough, I don't think. And I have to stick up for my guys as well. When you're sitting in a boardroom for whatever it is, 5-6 hours, it's hard to manage that, especially when you're 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kid.
Yep.
But our energy level wasn't there. We just, they did a good job blocking shots, especially in that first period. I mean, we had a ton of chances. We just, we didn't have the energy level they had. They obviously came out with something to prove. I don't think they were any better by any means, not to take away anything. I mean, they did sacrifice a lot, and their goaltender made some timely saves, but I got to worry about our guys and figure out why, we can't seem to take all the points in the weekend right now. And a lot of it has to do with what we're doing, and obviously we reacted in the third period and came out and kind of tipped the rink a little bit there, but too late, it's too late, and you look at the penalties we did take. They blatantly tell you that they're lazy penalties and they're tired penalties. I mean, tripping in the offensive zone, a holding on a penalty kill, right there you're done.
Yeah.
You give up 2 penalty kill goals because our guys aren't where they're supposed to be, which is a penalty kill that's done a fantastic job up until that point. But again, tired, lazy mistakes that if you take one of those back, it's a whole different hockey game. But we'll work on our energy level coming out, for 2 games in a row, and maybe try to figure out a better way when we travel to allow our guys to have maximum opportunity to perform, when the puck drops. But everybody has to do it, I guess. So it's an even playing field, but obviously it's definitely.
Well, it's not always an even playing field, depending upon where you're going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean. Certainly you got a big advantage when you're at home in our division, just based on some of the ways you have to do things on the road, and you're having to do what they tell you have to do. Not you don't control what you eat, you don't control where you sleep, you don't control how you sleep, and that's from a coach's point of view, that's hard.
Yeah.
Because coaches, for the most part, want to control everything that the players do, from how they eat to how they sleep to how they prepare to how they perform, because that's what we do. That's our job.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out a way to adapt to it, and I've struggled with that for 7 years now, 6-7 years now, on how to optimally prepare us in those conditions. Our guys had a great night's sleep on Friday, right?
Yeah.
The game that they came out, they put up 7 goals. We only gave up 3, and or what was it, 2, 3? I don't know. But I'm going to back my guys in this situation. Obviously, we're going to talk about it. We're going to figure out ways to make it better. But we were tired on Saturday. From the drop of the puck, we were tired on Saturday, and that result was a huge blow to us in the standings, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Those are points that you had to come home with.
So, again, you talked about a loss and what you can learn from it. We've talked about that before and so on. In this case, maybe it is, like you said, a way of preparation or whatever it is. A few weeks ago, I asked you if you were liking the growth that you were seeing from this team, because very early on, we talked about the potential that this team is showing and what they're capable of and what they can do. Are you still seeing the growth? Are you still seeing, week to week, what does it look like?
Yeah, for sure. We're growing. We have a long ways to go in certain areas, but just our play on the ice alone, you look at the difference in our power play unit from a week ago to this week, and we control most of the play on that. I think we have a good group of guys here. Again, we're going to talk about what it takes to win, and the sacrifice it takes to be in the upper half of the division, if not the top of the division. But our guys, we have a group here that doesn't like losing.
Right.
They just don't understand yet why they're losing, and it's taking bad penalties in a close hockey game where you're not able to score goals early, where if you're putting the other team on the power play, they have a pretty good chance on a 5-on-3 they're going to score.
Right.
So you're not giving yourself an opportunity to win a game, especially on the road. So those things need to be cleaned up. And sooner or later, I guess I'm just going to have to figure out a way to deal with it, or just not play the guys that continually put our team at risk of losing hockey games.
All right, well, you mentioned it, Central Division, being at the top half, top of. Let's look at the standings. Austin right now, 19 points at the top of the division. Minot with 17, then Aberdeen with 15, Bismarck with 14, St. Cloud with 14, North Iowa with 4. Now again, games played, the Wings have more games played than any other team in the division, so that plays in as a factor, but nonetheless, those are the standings right now. You see Bismarck this weekend, okay, up at the VFW Center, never an easy place to play. They end up winning in overtime on Friday night and then lost to Austin on Saturday night. But we've talked about it several times that Bismarck, that's a building that's difficult to play, and they're always going to be ready for you. What do you have to do? What are you seeing from Bismarck, and what do you have as a group need to do? You mentioned bad penalties and these kinds of things for sure. Is there something specific that you're looking at for this weekend?
Well, they're a good team. Yeah, they're a really good team. I think they're deep. They're a team that gets up and down the ice. They play 200 feet, and obviously their goaltending has been excellent.
Yeah.
But we got to manage the game. We have to take advantage of the opportunities they give us, and we got to capitalize. Obviously, we have to be good defensively, because the last time they were here, they made us run around quite a lot. Yeah. And if our guys don't remember that opening night series, then shame on us. We need to go in there understanding that they took advantage of us in our home rink on our opening weekend, and but they're a good hockey team. But so are we. Yeah. We've played good teams in this division throughout this early part of the season, and we've had success. We just have to have everybody going, and obviously we rely heavily on our goaltending, which I think has been pretty good, and I think it's going to be a good series.
Looking forward to it, that's for sure. Folks, Friday and Saturday night at the VFW Center in Bismarck. Games will be broadcast here at City Lights, and we'll have more information on as far as start times and all that sort of stuff coming up here as we get ready to close the show. But Coach, I say it so much, but I know you're a busy guy, a lot going on all kinds of different spectrums and different ways you're looking at things and studying things and working on things. So I appreciate you joining us once again. And hey, good luck against the Bobcats.
Thanks, Trey.
All right, folks, second portion of Wings Weekly will come up after this. City Lights Bar and Event Center is your official home for the Aberdeen Wings.
Stop down for an ice-cold beer or drink and choose from one of the many excellent food options on their menu, available for both lunch and dinner. And when your Aberdeen Wings are on the road trying to earn their way back to the Robertson Cup Championship, come on down to City Lights and watch the away games as the audio and video are streamed live. City Lights Bar and Event Center, the official home for the Aberdeen Wings on South 2nd Street, just south of the overpass in Aberdeen.
Second portion of Wings Weekly continues on, and as usual, a player is joining me here at City Lights Bar and Event Center, the away home for Aberdeen Wings. They have the games on here down and on the big projector screens and big TVs and stuff, and great opportunity for you to come on down and have some fantastic food and drink, and watch the Wings games. As usual, a player is joining me, as I mentioned. This time it is Riley Sharun of West Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about British Columbia. I've never been, but I hear it's beautiful. Got to be a little bit weird coming to the plains, the flatlands of Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Yeah, it's not something I'm used to. It's good mountain ranges back home.
Yeah.
So I kind of see forever out here, and it's been a nice change, actually.
Really? Okay. Well, wait till the wind's blowing, the snow flying around, then you maybe won't think quite so much. 3 goals, 11 assists as far as stats here go so far. We're going to talk about your captainhood and all these kinds of things here in just a moment. But like I was telling you before the camera started rolling, we're just sitting here BSing, man. We're just talking. And I want to know, I always have to start with the start. How did you get started playing hockey? Where obviously, Canada, they say Minnesota's the state of hockey. Well, Canada's the country of hockey. Where does everybody and their sister play up there, or how did you get involved? Did you have an influence, somebody that got you going?
Probably just going to open ice skates, when I was really young with my dad.
Yeah.
Just kind of skating around, no stick or anything, and then kind of took a step back, didn't really like how my skates were fitting. Went into soccer for a year or two, came back into hockey, just realized that all my friends were doing it in school, and kind of wanted to be a part of it, so.
Right.
And that's kind of how that went, so.
I always laugh at that. I was somebody else. I don't know if it was a mic'd up thing I saw. Weisner was saying something about that too, about he didn't like playing until he. But when I played, we didn't have bake skates. We didn't have, and I remember my feet hurting all the time. The arches in my feet drove me nuts. But I wanted to skate. I wanted to play, but my feet just hurt so much, and I always think to myself, and now I actually have bake skates, and what a difference that is. And I think you guys are soft. 10 ply, bud. Anyway, moving along. So tell me a little bit about your family. You said your dad, got you going on, and so, did you have any brothers and sisters or anybody like that?
Yeah, my younger brother is in 05. He's going to State University in Calgary now. It's his first year, and he's in culinary. So
he's in culinary. Okay,
yeah,
very cool.
He's loving it so far. So super happy for him.
For sure. Okay, I talked with Zach Rhyme last week, and you were a teammate of his.
Yep.
And he said that you made texted him, called him, whatever. I made a connection with him and kind of asked him a little bit about Aberdeen, and he told you, what he thought of the family, the team, the community. How much weight did you put in that, or were you like, dude, I know you were full of it. I don't believe half of what you're saying, or were you like, you got me, I'm coming to Aberdeen? Mm-hmm. How did that work?
Yeah, so obviously trust Rhyme's opinion massively. He's an amazing teammate, and super happy to get to play with him here and in my days in Westgate. So when I heard from Langer about the opportunity this year, and he was kind of the first person I called, and gave me the rundown, told me that we've got amazing fans here, and I think I'd really like it. So kind of got the rundown from Rhyme, and then the decision kind of made itself for me at the end there.
Excellent. Well, happy to have you for sure. All right, so you get the C on your sweater. Now I gotta warn you, Rhyme set the bar pretty high when I asked him about what it means to have a letter in your sweater. He had all the patented answers, all the
Yeah, I heard him. He was good.
I'm like, dude, did you study ahead of time? What does it mean to you to be a captain? First of all, let me ask you. Let's backtrack a little bit. Does Coach bring you into the office? Does he say, "Hey, man, I got something to talk to you about"? How does that go? And you're like, "Whoa, I'm gonna be the captain," or or did you kind of feel like, how does walk us through that?
Yeah, there's definitely a level of communication that you have with the coach when you're the captain and stuff, and it's just kind of him being able to talk to you, and then you being able to talk to the group about stuff that he wants that he doesn't want to say to them himself. So yeah, it's been super fun so far.
Does it change anything? And this is something I had talked to Reimer about a little bit too, but do you feel like, oh wow, now there's a little bit more responsibility. I just don't get to be one of the boys. I have to be a leader. Or do you take pride in that? How does tell me a little about how that transition is, if you.
Yeah, kind of a bit of both. Building off what he said, though, he kind of answered it pretty well.
He did.
What you did to get here is what you're going to continue to do. So just coming to the rink every day, trying to.
How much of it is off ice? Because I travel with you guys, and I know that I'm kind of I don't know, an addition, so to speak. But I watch. I'm an observant guy, and I watch hotel lobbies and stuff like that, and I always kind of look, I'm like, oh, I hope someone's going to clean that up, or and when the captains are like, hey guys, let's make sure we get this handled, let's take this garbage out, or let's do this or that. That's off ice stuff that I don't think the fans understand how important that part of it is too, that you're a leader off the ice too. What do you think, like percentage wise, would you say that, how important is it?
I haven't really looked at it percentage-wise, but it's definitely off the ice as well. It's just making sure the guys are doing the right things, opening the door for people, making sure the tables are cleaned up after meals.
Yeah, it's things like that. I don't think that people really understand how important that actually is, because when we leave hotels, there's times there are people that they'll look at me and go, "You guys, they're so nice, they're so polite, they're so friendly." I'm like, yeah, well, they better be, otherwise they're going to hear it from coach or whatever, or from a captain. So it's interesting how funny, and like I said, I try to draw a little light on some of these things, because I don't think that the casual fan understands how important it is when you're on the road or when you're at home to make sure that guys are toeing the line, that they're carrying their weight. So that's cool, and I appreciate the honesty there and about how important it is. I talked to Coach a little bit about when you see one of your brothers lying on the ice like we saw Friday night, how difficult that is. And I saw 4 or 5 guys on a knee around him, obviously concerned, and until Coach says, okay, let the professionals do their job, come on over here to the bench. How do you stay focused? I talked with Coach about how difficult that is from a coaching perspective. Players too, though. You're like, that's one of your guys, man.
That's your brother out there. So when you see him go down, it's kind of all you can think about at the moment, and it's really hard to put it out of your mind and continue the game, but it's also something that you can rally around and kind of get the job done for him. And
when you
just super happy that he was all right.
Oh, for sure. But when you guys are starting to roll off goals, I think I even mentioned, or I even said that I was like, that these guys are inspired right now. Yeah. Like it's you're definitely they're doing this for him, they're doing this for each other. All right, off the ice, what do you like to do? You golfer? Yeah.
I'm a golfer.
I hear you guys have a bunch of golfers on this team. So what's your, are you top tier golfer or just kind of out there for fun? What's?
I'm a let's go golf guy. I'm not a really good golfer. So leave the playing to Rhyme. Rhyme's a good golfer.
That's what I heard. Well, that's what he claims. I haven't seen it, but I hear. where you can sit down for an hour with them and just talk a little bit with them and ask questions and just pick their brain a little bit. Who's that going to be?
I'm going to go with Tom Wilson, my favorite hockey player.
Okay.
And just kind of pick his brain a bit, see what he does before the games, how he prepares, his thought process outside of the rink. So kind of a generic answer for you, but that's what
it
I'm going
isn't a
with.
generic answer. It's just funny to me because every time I ask that question, it's always a hockey player. I'm like, seriously? You don't want to talk to Socrates? You don't want to talk to Abraham Lincoln? You don't want to go back and go, what were you? It's always a hockey player. Whatever I always think to myself, of all the people in the world throughout history that you can talk to, it's Tom Wilson. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Hey, no answer is a bad answer. I'm just saying. always makes me laugh. Tishy's stealing my questions, asking people about food and what meal would you eat and stuff on Mic'd Up that I saw. I'm going to have a discussion with him about that because he's stealing my questions. But I'm going to ask this, and this starts to get a little repetitive when we have all the social media stuff. If you had one meal that you could eat, or the only meal you could eat for an entire year, all right, so breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever, everything, it's always going to be the same food, the same thing. What's it going to be?
Was that a pizza bake lasagna the other night? Just pizza bake. Pizza bake. Miss Heather makes it amazing.
Here we go with Heather and her cooking again. This is a trend I'm running into. Okay, pizza bake. All right. Now we know what's on the schedule or on the menu for tonight. All right, another one. If you had to make every decision in the world and you were responsible for everything good or bad that happened, but you had all the power in the world, would you rather have that kind of power, or would you rather be told what to do all the time, always follow, never have any say in anything? Which would it be?
Probably the power.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You'd take the responsibility? Well,
for sure.
The guy's a captain, man. I mean, that wouldn't expect anything less. All right. Who on the team do you trust to date your sister? One of the guys in the locker room, who's the one that you're going to be like, you know what, this guy's going to be a gentleman. He's going to take my sister out, and he's going to be polite and respectful and be a good guy about it?
Well, there's not really anyone. No, they're good guys. They're good guys. I'm going to go with my billet brother, Adam. He's a super nice kid, so yeah.
I want to ask the flip side of who's the last person you'd want, but I'm not going to go there. Maybe another time with another player. Yeah. All right, you've got the Bismarck Bobcats coming up this weekend.
Sure.
Up in the VFW Center in Bismarck. It's like Coach and I talked about, always a really tough place to play. They've got some very, very passionate fans like we do. And it's tough to be on the road and so on, but Bismarck's a team that had your guys' number on our opener, like Coach said. What do you guys feel like you need to do? I mean, from a X's and O's standpoint, what are some keys?
Obviously, it's dictating our game, what we want to do. It's not playing to them, playing to what they want to do, and just remembering what they did to us on opening weekend at the Odie Center. So, love to return the favor this weekend. Yeah,
well, and that's like Coach said, it's about management, and it is about kind of saying, you know what, we're not going to take that lightly. We're going to remember, that you kind of beat up on us on our home opener. So, and again, a very well-coached team and always competitive up there. But looking forward to some great games against the Bobcats all the way through the season, but certainly this coming weekend. Sure. All right, folks, we've got some games coming up like we talked about, and that is, of course, the Bismarck Bobcats. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. We are rolling along here Friday and Saturday, October 27th and 28th in Bismarck, 7:15 puck drop both nights. You can watch at City Lights Bar and Event Center in Aberdeen or by logging into or onto NAHLTV.com. Listen on 94.1 The Rock, HubCityRadio.com, or The Rock app. The Rock app, download it. You can carry it anywhere in the world and open it up and listen to the games. Next home games Friday and Saturday, November 3rd and 4th versus Minot. Friday will be the kids' Halloween candy toss. Kids are encouraged to dress in their Halloween costumes and come on the ice for post-game candy toss. Not just kids, mind you. I've seen a lot of adults that have some pretty crazy costumes, like Michael Myers and the like, that show up from time to time. So My Place Hotel is the corporate game sponsor. Saturday is the Aberdeen Area Convention and Visitors Bureau Rooster Rush Night. Join us for a fun night of giveaways courtesy of the Aberdeen Area's CVB, or Convention and Visitors Bureau. Home again, yes, that's right, a home stand Friday and Saturday, November 10th and 11th versus St. Cloud. Tickets are on sale now at tickets.aberdeenwings.com or at any of the Sea Express locations in Aberdeen. Season tickets are still available. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for all the latest news and information. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or visit us at aberdeenwings.com. Once again, folks, this is going to wrap up Wings Weekly. We appreciate Riley Sharun for joining us and talking to us a little bit about, letting people get to know you a little bit. So thank you for taking some time.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.